All
That's
right, I
probably why
think
people have those long intro musical numbers and animation is so when they hit start, they can actually see that it started.
yeah, I think we're live. We're live. So,
Awesome.
all right, guys, welcome back to another Indie Dev Chat stream. We did not announce these are always done pretty quickly. So we're gonna give it a minute for people to come in. I'll do a quick tweet to get people that follow me to to know that we're up.
Very cool.
And
Popping the
then
chat out just so I can follow if anybody's saying anything or asking questions.
yeah, I got the chat open too.
Cool.
So give us a minute to just get set up, and then we'll be ready to
Yeah.
roll. We got some topics today. Maybe you can talk about the topics that we're going to cover, Sean, while I get this thing set up.
Yeah. Yeah. So on the list, we're going to talk about making demos, right? Playing demos. Does that even make sense? Or is it a great idea that not enough people do, right? We don't know. So we're going to talk about that. Another good topic we were throwing around this morning was when are you done? When are you done making your game? And that's a fun one because Havo's in that meat grinder right now, and I'm going to be getting close pretty soon on Cyber League. And it's important to know, right? Because you could work on these things forever.
Yeah, we have a few things we want to talk about. I mean, we like to talk about dev topics because we're swimming in it, right? So we just want to kind of either vent or get your feedback, kind of share what's going on in our lives when it comes to dev stuff.
Yeah, and if we want to get in rant mode, we can talk about Madden because spoiler alert, I just got Madden 22 for $9. So that was a fun experience.
That's a waste
So
of your money. I mean,
if
I
we get
I, I played it last night
the
with my son.
punchline
Actually,
is yes. $9, it was still a waste. So we could talk about that later too.
oh, I see. I just released my patch, and I need to change something real quick with on the store page. Nothing major. Let's do regular update. Yeah, regular update. And then let's just change because it's not on the store page. Sorry, I'm just
Your
rambling.
patch?
No, I updated the game. So for those of you guys who follow Legend Bowl who are coming in here, we got a few people coming in now. But for people watching this again, the patch is out. So I've been working on a really huge patch after the franchise update, and I released it just before we started the stream. But the post, the actual like announcement, wasn't on the store, and now it is.
Oh.
So it's there now.
What's in your patch? Are these just more of these tiny updates that you do, or were you actually fixing something?
No, this is a lot of fixes, a lot of tuning. This is what I kind of want to call my stop working on the goddamn game patch because I've been working on it for years and years and years, and I can continue working on it for 10 times what I've done
Absolutely,
already.
you could.
So I'm at a point where we need to get it to consoles. You and I have talked about this a lot. So I'm at the point where I'm there, but this patch is going to be a mixture of the one major thing in here is now when you do like a player wire event or a trade that gets offered to you in the previous version, what would happen is you would just basically get presented. Actually, you wouldn't even get presented. Like, let's say like, I don't know, the Washington Eagles would get chosen to drop a player or accept their demand offers. If they chose to drop the player would go to a team that has a lower salary. It's kind of a random thing, but the probabilities are higher if your salary rankings are low. So if you're a very low salary team, that kind of means that you're not that good. So you're going to get a better chance of getting these top tier players that get dropped. Well, what would happen is it would automatically, like let's say you control the Arizona Scorpions, it would automatically, let's say they dropped a quarterback, it would take your third string quarterback, your lowest depth chart quarterback, and it would automatically swap their best player that they dropped with your worst player. And that was frustrating people because people would draft like a rookie quarterback and they wouldn't, and they might have three, I don't know why they would have three quarterbacks, and it would automatically just take. So I added in, I know it's not a, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a pop-up that now allows you to choose which quarterback you would want to drop, or you can even decline the offer depending on, you know, how you're controlling the teams. But that's the major piece in there. And then other than that, we did some fine tuning. We did a lot of fixes because I've been doing many I just dropped another play test from last night on my YouTube channel. So go check that out if you guys are liking those videos. They're long, but they're nice to, it's nice to play test because you can see, like you and I, we look at bugs and we find out, you know, what's wrong with our game, which is a double-edged sword because you end up fixing things forever. So this is a pretty deep patch. But go check out the notes. They're out there. I'll actually drop a link. I'll actually drop a link in here right now so you guys can go check out that patch if you want. And then I also just dropped a video that that has, let's see, that has.
So now that this patch is out, does this mean, this probably means that the console guys are going to start cranking away, right? Or are they waiting for you to stop adding patches?
Yeah, I mean that is the idea. Like we've been waiting. See, there's a couple things that are kind of happening here that are annoying. One of them is I'm on an old version of Game Maker because Game Maker basically they did a huge update to their IDE, to their game engine, and it just totally threw off my game.
I remember that.
Remember that? So I tried to upgrade a couple of times, but it didn't work correctly. So I had to just back away because I was at a point where the game was almost quote unquote done. But basically now now that this is done, we need to upgrade to that version, that latest version. They're going to do that. And then I will hopefully get a copy of that. And then we can any fixes I do will be a quick merge over to their side.
So they can't port until they're on the newest Game Maker, and you can't go to that until you're done adding patches and things, right?
Right. The biggest problem, the biggest problem is like if I do a change right now, they're on a newer version, so they have to and the whole entire structure of the way that Game Maker was built changed. So when I make a little change, it's hard for them to transfer that over to the new version.
Yeah.
So they're waiting for me to finish.
It's not as easy as just do a merge and keep going.
Exactly. So so they wanted to wait until this was done so that they could upgrade, and then I'll take their upgrade once it's stable and working and fine, and then we port. And then now any changes I make will be a quick boom, boom, merge.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So we can go ahead and get started. I mean, this is on replay. So anybody who's, not white, we have nobody in here right now from what I'm seeing. So I don't know why it's on public, monetized. Normally we get a few people. So I don't know what.
Well, usually we have it sitting, we schedule it like an hour before we go live. So people kind of queue up.
Maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah, that's all right though.
That's fine. No, it's fine.
We can cover our topics before we got to start answering questions.
Exactly. So I think I'm going to let you start off, and I'll be right back. I'm gonna go put a hat on because I look like a scumbag. Yeah, you can start off.
These are all your topics.
You can start off. Bye.
Dude, where did you go? Oh man. Well, let's talk about Madden then. You're Havo laughing in the background.
That's hilarious.
I'll tell my little Madden story while he hangs me out to dry. Yeah, so the other day, Madden 22 goes on sale, right? And I'm as part of working on Desktop Dynasties 2, right? The plan for Desktop Dynasties 2, in case people don't know, is I'm going like all in deep. Oh God, you just went and put a hat on.
I had to, man. I look like a scumbag.
So now I got to finish this story.
Right.
So I'm going all in. It's going to be super deep football management and coaching simulation, right? Think of Football Manager, right? The soccer by side games, Football Manager, except for NFL and NCAA and high school. Really deep coaching, really deep team building and all that stuff. PC only, so nobody asked me about consoles. Because it's going to be deep. Like anybody who's watched videos on Football Manager knows how awesome it is for managing your team, but that only works if you have things like click and drag. So, cool. People jumping in the chat finally. So
yeah,
anyway,
we got about 6 people in here now.
Yeah. So as part of that process, I've been playing and watching a lot of videos on a lot of other in-depth team building games. And, you know, like Football Manager is a big one that I'm watching because I really love their interface, but a lot of other games. I've been not watching videos on Madden because all the videos on Madden are just like gameplay and people telling you how to cheese and how to spam hot routes and like just dumb crap. So I'm like, all right, I want to at least play the franchise mode of Madden to get a flavor for what's happening out there right now. What are people seeing and what are they playing? And maybe there's a good idea or two. So Madden goes on sale for $9 on Steam. I'm like, $9. That's about how much I think Madden's worth. So I buy it, I download it, I try to play it. This is not an exaggeration. It took me 4 attempts of firing up Madden, going through all the bullshit at the beginning, right? Like they put you in, you immediately have to do a bunch of crap to even play Madden, like setting up an avatar. They throw you into the Bucks Chiefs game, right? Like, I don't want to play this game right away. I just don't want to play a Bucks Chief game before I can even get into Madden. So like, I get frustrated and I quit.
Are we already on a Madden venting session?
It's because you had to take this break to go get your hat. You got me going. So like, no lie, like 4 times just get angry and quit. And then I fire it up again a few hours later. And I'm like, I'm going to get to franchise mode this time. And then I get angry and quit. And I go like, so the 4th time I finally get in and I get to franchise mode and I start navigating through the screens. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll cut a couple of players. I'll sign some free agencies. I'll go into trades. And like, my God, they make it so hard in that game to do anything to manage your team or to even understand where you stand as a roster, that it like a half hour in of trying to navigate franchise screens. And I was just like, you know what? $9 was too much money. I'm out. Uninstall. Like it was just, but it did solidify in my mind the Cygames Football Manager approach of making everything accessible to you on one screen. Like you always have all the information you want. And if you don't have something, you click one place and all the information pops up. It kind of re-solidified that that's the way to go for a game like this. So I was happy.
What game are you talking about? The soccer management game?
Yeah, the soccer game. Football Manager, FM22. It's a masterpiece of team management games. It's the best that I've ever seen, ever done. It's just a pure masterpiece. And if you ever watch YouTube videos on work, the YouTube channel I watch is Work the Space, and it's this guy Jack. He plays Football Manager a lot. He's just really good at, it's entertaining. He's really good at managing his team. It's not that game.
It's not this game?
No, it's not that game. Look up Football Manager in the search.
Mm-hmm.
It's by Cygames.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. They come.
Yeah,
that's why I was
really,
confused
really
because you told me about this earlier today, and I'm thinking that game doesn't come out every year. They basically just have,
I think it's every year.
For the other game, I'm saying.
Yeah, I was thinking that game doesn't.
I was thinking you were talking about the other game. This game, this game does come out every year.
That game, Football Manager, is just a pure masterpiece in managing a team. And if you want a deep team management game, it's amazing. Now, it just sucks that I don't know that much about soccer. Otherwise, I'd be super into it. But
I don't know how. I mean, do you actually play games, like play matches in that game, or is it just?
Oh yeah, this game, it not only plays 3D games on the field, it has a really clever and inventive way of doing it where you don't watch the whole game. It like fast sims until an interesting thing happens, and then they call it a highlight, and then it brings you on the field. So you're only watching the most interesting parts of the game. And not only does that do it, but the games that you're not playing, you can go back and watch the highlights of those games too. It's amazing. So like that's the stuff I want for my desktop
But how's the
dynasties
gameplay
franchise.
though? Like, how is it on the field? Is it good? I
It's
mean, good
pretty good. I
enough.
mean, the visual simulation, it's not like flashy like Madden, right? It's good. Um, I like it. I like watching it. It's interesting. The players do interesting things and can be surprising and fun. But like the graphical fidelity is not like it's not like Madden, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a strategy sports management game. Um, but it's great. Yeah. If you guys have a chance, like watch the Work the Space channel. Just Google YouTube, search that. Um, he does a lot of videos on. There's a lot of Football Manager videos out there, but there's a few of them that are really good and really entertaining.
Maybe you can drop a link in there because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
mind following that because I like soccer games. I don't like I'm like you. I'm not like a huge soccer fanatic type of guy, but
Yeah.
I do appreciate the game. And my son plays soccer. He's got a tryout today, so we're into soccer a lot for the
Yeah.
family here. But I've played a lot of FIFA. I've played many years of PES. Management games for me are no, we're live. Phenomenal view. We're live. Hopefully, we're live. Um, we I played a lot of PES. I love PES, and they've kind of gone downhill a little bit. But these management games, I think, are pretty impressive. Like what you see, there are a lot. Soccer is such a popular sport.
Yeah.
In Europe, I know they love it, obviously, but there are so many different games that are made for soccer fans, and I wish we had that for other sports like football.
Yeah. And the
But
thing I love about this and the thing that I want to do for football is like it's not only managing your roster and managing your finances and the personalities and ratings and all that stuff. You create on the field strategies. You create on the field, like you give assignments to players. Say, hey, you press forward more often. Hey, this group over here, play narrow, don't play wide. And like you get to create your own strategies with your own teams. And I just imagine for an American football game, that would be incredible. It would be so much fun. And not only to do that kind of stuff for your team, but then to like when the week is done, to be able to look at other games and view highlights from those games on the field. Like, my God, could you imagine what that game would be like? It would be amazing.
the only thing I don't know, and that's why I wouldn't mind seeing some of these videos, is now that we're talking about like these type of games, my only hesitation, like when I think about this game that we're talking about here, Football Manager
Yeah.
2022, right? I
Yep.
don't know how big their team is and how many people make this game.
It's pretty big now. Yeah, it didn't used
Is
to
it
be, but now it's fairly big. You could probably classify them pretty close to an AAA studio, AAA studio now.
okay? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the management part of it, like the actual UI, the UI is beautiful. Like I can like this
Oh,
picture
it's
that I have
great.
up here
Yeah, this is
looks
my favorite version that they've put out. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really nice right here. And like, I guess the emphasis needs to be on not on the field, right? The field to me is just like for those guys who really want to watch their management, like strategy changes play out in real time. But like, that's why I want to see how good is it on the field because I know people like myself, I get very, um, I get very impatient or I lose a lot of interest when I go to the field and I'm like, this looks like crap. But the
Yeah.
thing is, like, I expect it to look like crap, and I would expect the management side of it to be so like immersive and so like just like you're hungry to just manage and change things and buy
Yep.
players and increase your fan base or whatever and expand your team and win some championships or World Cups or whatever in this case
Yeah.
and I would expect that to be like the meat of the game. And if you
Yep.
want to watch one in live match just for fun while you're sitting there doing some side tasks, that I could see that being pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that
The
wouldn't be the
coolest part
meat.
about that too is this in this game and what I'm thinking for desktop dynasties, it's like that, right? The meat of the game is the team building and the building a dynasty, right? And you don't even you could fast sim all the games, but wouldn't it be cool? And this championship manager does this. fast sim a bunch of games, and let's say you had a really close game. You fast simmed a whole 4 weeks, right? You just simmed out 4 weeks, and you realize, oh my God, like me as the Vikings, I had a really close game against the Packers that came down to the wire. Wouldn't it be great to say, let me go back to that game and watch the highlights?
That would
Oh
be
my
pretty
God.
cool.
Because
Yeah.
then you don't have to be in the game every time. But if something interesting happens, you can go back and watch it. Like that's what I'm talking about.
I like that. I like that idea. So it's more like
It's
a,
like the best of both worlds, right?
yeah, it's like a supplemental thing that you can do to
Yeah.
kind of just gain more like depth in your game and just give you more opportunities to kind of see your changes live, right? See what they
Yeah.
actually
That's the
do.
cool part about the on-field game, right? It's you do all this stuff off the field and building a team. At some point, it's kind of fun to watch those guys run around, you know?
Yeah. I guess, but I guess for football fans, I don't know how they feel about like I don't know, man. But I think if you have a deep enough system like this, I would hope that football fans would cling on to this. And I know that there are other football management games, right? There are more
Yeah.
that
There's
are out
quite a
there.
few of them. Actually, there's quite a few of them out there. Yeah.
Like Draft Day Sports is one of them. I know, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, that one. Oh, you're talking about American football? Yeah,
American
there's
football,
not quite
American
as many
football.
as there are soccer football. But yeah, I think if you're talking pure tech sim or like tech sim with some sort of like 2D quick thing, maybe you could maybe find 5 or 6 out there. Um, and probably 3 of those are real deep cuts that almost nobody knows about.
I don't even know if I've ever seen five. I've seen like a couple that come to mind
Yeah.
that come out every
There's the
year. Like the
draft day
Wolverine
one.
Studios one. That one is Draft Day, I think, right?
Yeah, there's another so there's the one from
College sports one or
Wolverine.
something.
There's the one from Grey Dog Software. I can't remember the titles, which one has what. Um, but there's a couple out of the real deep cuts that just like are just guys with it's like their side project and it's kind of fun for them. It's not real commercial though. Maybe you could find another 3 of those that I know of.
Yeah, there's not many, and I just wonder.
Not on Steam. Yeah, like the other ones are not on Steam. You just kind of got to know a
Oh,
guy who
okay.
knows a guy. Yeah.
Well, that's not going to work.
No, like I said, they're just for fun. It's people's pet projects that they do it just because they love it.
Yeah, but it takes a lot of work. I mean, the same work that it takes to make that football manager game that we were just looking at, it's going to take you the same amount of work, and they're almost a AAA studio. So, and I guess that's part of the problem that we have is like we're trying to figure out, we as football fans who are trying to make games, we're also trying to figure out what do people actually want to support because
Yeah.
making these games is hard work, and you can make a game that that nobody wants and nobody's interested in, and you're going to do just as much. Like right now with
I
my
did that.
game. Yeah, I know. I know you did.
I made a game nobody wanted.
I know you did, and it's comical to laugh, but it's sad because you put a
Pain
lot of work.
laugh.
Yeah, pain laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's sad. I mean, like I look at my game, and the amount of work that I do. I have a core group of guys that are on my QA team that are so passionate about the game, and they want the game to be just as great as I want it to be. And some of them are in here now, and I know that the problem is that the work that it takes to make a game and the work that it takes to support fans who love your game, whether it's 5 of them or 5,000 of them, is the same amount of work. It's the same
That's a
amount.
lot.
So it's like if you're going to do that much work, then you want to make sure that the work that you're doing it has to be justified. It has to warrant that type of work. So you're not going to get a break because you have less people that buy your game, less people that buy your game, or less people that are following you. You're going to get the same amount of work. Or if you
It's
make
the
a
same.
game,
Yeah.
right? Or if you make a game that's with American football versus
Yep.
regular
A
football.
bug or a feature takes just as long to develop whether one person buys it or 1,000 people buy it.
Exactly. So that's not going to change. There are people that are asking questions about like Legend Bowl, the infamous question of when is it going to come out on consoles. We just spoke about that a minute ago. Consoles are going to be ported next. Consoles is a huge endeavor. People ask me every day, and we are just starting that out. We're hoping to
Yeah.
have something this year and, have something out for you guys in one of the major consoles at the very least. But I can't even speak to it because we're not even
It wasn't
there.
the plan just kind of always not to get consoles done as fast as possible, but to have it ready for football season kickoff, right?
We were trying to make it. You were trying to
Yeah.
make it by season start. Is that what you asked?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
that was always the plan. It's not that it's late or anything like that. It's the plan was always for season start. It wasn't as fast. It what the plan wasn't if we get it done in July, it'll launch in July. Like that's never was the plan.
No, but the plan has kind of changed because
Oh,
we were supposed to start. Well, it hasn't changed, but the deadline, the amount of time it's going to take to work on it, the amount of time we have to work on it has shrinked a little bit because I've been trying to push in franchise mode. This January, I decided to put franchise mode in, so that ate up more room to do more with the ports. And we're thinking about doing a physical edition. We're thinking about doing like some side merch, like some type of playing, like trading cards or things like that. There are things that they're thinking about doing, the publisher. But all I'm saying is the window that we had has been decreased by 4 months. So
oh,
I'm hopeful that we can get some things out by launch, by season start, but we don't really know. It's too early to tell. But this last patch that I did was to firm up the game. The franchise update was to get a mode in the game that people are going to sink their teeth and their mouths and do whatever. And then,
hey,
and
you're still
then,
sharing that screen. Maybe you want to put yourself back on.
yeah, I can do that. And then, get it out by football season. That's the
Yeah.
plan. And
Yep.
like one guy in here is asking, Eros Prime, he's asking, why don't I have a juke
The
mechanic?
juke. Yeah.
There is a juke mechanic in the game. It's the right and left triggers. The guy just slides left and right. So that is in the game, but I don't know if you're talking about a different type of juke. Um, but yeah, no. So going back to how much work it takes so much work. And the console porting work, I tried to just do some research and see if I can actually do it myself. And I
Yeah.
struggled so much. I mean, I have the
Yeah. I'm
dev
not
kit.
porting myself either.
I
Yeah.
have the
It just,
Xbox dev
my
kit
God.
here. I got into Nintendo. I bought their dev kit. I returned their dev kit because I had to actually buy that one.
Yeah.
And because I just couldn't do it. So I said,
Yeah.
you know what? Let me focus on making the game better, and let me see if the developer can help me, or the publisher can help me get it to console. So whenever anybody asks about console, trust me, that's a question that I'm interested in finding out. But one step at
Yeah.
a time.
There was a question about why is it so hard? I know for Legend Bowl, it was performance, right?
Yeah, I put Legend
Yeah, just
Bowl on
squeezing the extra
Xbox.
performance out on its basically consoles are substandard PCs.
Right, and that's what's
Yeah.
crazy because I was playing like it's funny you mentioned Madden. I haven't never really even played. I might have touched Madden 22 for a second
Don't.
when he had
Like
it,
I said, it was a wasted hours of my life.
but last night my son wanted to play and we sat down. He's always asking me to play games like FIFA and things and NBA 2K with him, which NBA 2K by the way has to me it's gone downhill big time. I that game is not good to me anymore and I don't want to get into NBA. I love NBA 2K, but I swear they've added so many different it's almost like they've polluted the game with too many bells and whistles, and the way the players move around is so scripted now. It's overly like too much polish. Like they've
Yeah.
polished the game so much where it's like you can't even see the game anymore. It's just like but
Yeah. That
Madden,
that that sucks.
but what sucks about Madden, I mean a lot, but while I was playing Madden last night and I was saying to myself, how did they get this beautiful, like the graphics are beautiful, the amount of stuff they have going on in that game, they have a lot going on. How do they get these games to work on Xbox? I put a
Oh my God.
little 2D pixel art game on there, and I swear it was like snails. Like it was just like the guys were moving like one,
Yeah.
inch at a time, and I'm just like, like is my game that badly optimized? There's no way because it
No,
works.
it's consoles. When I was at Max Football, it was the same thing. Something as simple as we had an issue where lens flare, just that little lens flare visual effect actually would make the game crawl on Xbox. And Dave had to hire Unity to come in and fix that for him because it was we would not be able to launch on consoles because it's just like these little things that on PCs work just fine. The
Yeah,
consoles just suck so bad when it comes to like hardware and like how they
graphics and things
process
like that.
stuff. They
Yeah,
performance on consoles is tough.
that's what I think. That's what, and people are saying that too. It is tough. Like people don't understand obviously because they don't do this for a living, and
I didn't
I get it.
understand either
I didn't
till like
understand
I ran into
myself.
it.
When I first started making Legend Bowl, I said I didn't even worry about optimization. I mean, I did what I could. I was brand new to it, and I did what I thought. I wasn't going to do anything stupid, but I didn't go crazy thinking that I would have to worry about it because it's such a small little game. At
Yeah.
least when you think about like games you see now. But you're right. The problem is not the quality or the technical quality of a game. It's how each console reads things and runs, and each console needs things to be like certain types of textures need to be done a different way, and the way that
Yep,
you
texture is
read
a big
and
one.
write certain files might need to be a certain way, and stored files are a certain way. I mean, so everything is run, I think, differently for sure on consoles versus PC. And I just didn't want to, I don't have the time to do the customer support, the marketing, the design, the testing, the game development, all the things that come with by myself. I can't do that. So I said, you know what, let the experts take care of it. I finally
Yep.
found a publisher that will help me, and we'll see how it goes. But there's a lot that they have to do, and I'm still not going to
One
believe.
other thing I just want to, but while we're talking about difficulties on consoles, because we may not come back to this for quite a while. Save games, save data on consoles is a much bigger issue than most people think. Because if you think about it nowadays, consoles expect that you're going to use cloud save, and they expect that cloud save works on non-optimal internet connections. So if you have a console and you have dial up or whatever, I don't even, does dial up even exist anymore? I don't know, whatever. You have slow internet, right? Let's say you have a console with a slow internet. Your clouds, your save games should still work just as well as somebody with fast internet. So what they do then is there's a part of the certification process. There's this whole list of requirements that have to do with save game file size, how often it saves. You can't save at certain times, but you must save at other times. What happens to save game files when people disconnect? What happens to save game files if your internet is disrupted? Like there's just this mountain of requirements about save files. And it's like it's those kind of things that you don't have to think about on PCs because you just save the file to your PC. Like, who cares, right? It could be as big as you want. It could be as many files as you want. Like, who cares? On consoles, it's a huge deal. And
Yeah.
that sucks too.
Like the guy here is, I mean, trust me, I felt the same way. This guy, Base Furlough, he's asking, have you seen Legend Bowl? Like he's asking this other Phenomenal View. He's asking, have you actually seen Legend Bowl? Phenomenal View is part of the QA team. He's one of the guys who's all over the
Phenomenal
game.
View's been around so long, you almost think he helped develop it.
Yeah, and I think he actually does like development, like actual programming for his job. But I mean, he's one of the major players, and of course he's seen it. And the guy's like, a PS1 could run Legend Bowl at max performance, laughing my ass off. And he's like, I wouldn't worry about PS5, but that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But you put it on.
You would think that.
I put it on Xbox One, the newest Xbox, and it ran like a snail. So has nothing to do with what the game looks like.
Yeah, it's not the game itself. It's all of the behind the scenes stuff.
Right. And to be honest with you, like right? There's also a lot going on. When my game runs in the field, I have a lot of gameplay logic in there that's being run every step that, it has to be optimized because it's not running as fast as it probably should. So just because it looks a certain way, don't let that fool you. That's one piece of the puzzle. But it's easy to think that because I thought the same thing.
Oh yeah. Another funny thing. Anybody who's played Max Football knows how like goofy it is when it comes to like the visuals and everything. That's rain. Remember the rain I think it was the rain. It's just like a bunch of lines dropping down. Rain would bring consoles to a crawl. Like just dumb things that you wouldn't even picture, right? Like rain or snow would bring consoles to a crawl. Like it's not anything groundbreaking, but
I
just
think I
consoles
notice
suck,
I
man.
notice on PC, like when I run rain, weather, I swear the particle, for some reason those particles are slowing it down as well. And it just,
I got to imagine, yeah.
when I was playing Madden for the half a quarter I played it before, I'm like, this game is not good at all. I said I wanted to play all pro football, and we don't even have it set up down there. It's in my room here. But the funny thing was, all I could think about was, how in the hell does this game run? How is it running all this stuff? And I can't. I have the same thought process as the most of you guys probably have, but there's something there, like we're talking that. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to let the pros handle it. I'm going to hope that they can get the game working on those consoles very fine, because I still have like so much doubt that it won't work for those consoles. And I know it's just me, because I'm ignorant when it comes to it, but it's crazy. And Don Periochi, thanks for the donation. You always come through. Somebody asked about the Legend Bowl merchandise. I know I have some hats that I ordered that I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet, but we may have some kind of contest or things like that, or I may sell some. I don't know what
You
I'm
know
going
what?
to do.
At launch, just do a giveaway.
Yeah.
Like some giveaways for
Yeah.
console launch.
I might send them to like YouTubers, like big time
Something like
YouTubers,
that. Yeah.
or have some kind of like, I don't know, maybe there's a certain kind of package that you can buy where you get one. I don't know what's going to happen, but they're nice hats. I mean,
Yeah, they are.
they're
They're
very,
really
very
nice.
nice hats. So we wanted to
Somebody
talk
in here,
about.
just a quick question. Somebody asked if the consoles get a cut. Yeah, they get a cut.
Oh yeah,
It's just like Steam, right? Steam takes 30% off the top of every sale. Consoles do the same thing.
everybody gets a cut.
Yeah, everybody gets a cut.
The amount of money you make is terrible for what you actually make. Gross. It's bad. And then the consoles, the consoles are like Steam though. They're going to get their
Yeah,
30
they take their
30%.
cut. It's
Yeah.
everywhere you go, it's the same. Like some stores, the cut is percentage is slightly different, but they all take a cut.
Yeah, I'm just trying to read some of these comments here, but yeah, um, the other thing though is like that's where the publisher comes in. The publisher's helping to port the game, but they're also, the idea is they're going to give me more sales than I would have gotten on my own. So hopefully they can do that. Hopefully that's where that's where their skill set is, and that's why you're going after them, so that they can help you sell more. But I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. We'll see. I mean,
I'm hoping to get a publisher too for the same reason for
right.
my games. I'm not going to port. I'm not good enough to do
don't
that.
do it, man.
I'm gonna have somebody else do that. So by the time I could port, I could have written a whole nother game. So I'm gonna just do the same thing.
Yeah, it's too much for me to deal with, I think. And then like I know for Legend Bowl, like I'm already learning things about the publisher. Like they're already thinking, because they have time to, even just the time to think about it, to be honest with you, versus I'm always thinking about the game,
Yeah.
and making it better. But like they're going to be they're not porting. They're going to be pushing my build basically over to Epic Games and GOG. So, but they're also trying to negotiate with them to get certain like store placements before they launch it, and they're going to put it on sale, and they're already thinking about the marketing. When I went to Steam, partly because I'm a nobody, right? They have some pull, I get a little bit of pull. I had no other games to have as a leverage, negotiation point or whatever tactic, and I just kind of just put it out. But like, it would be nice to be able to say, and I listened to these guys, Butterscotch Shenanigans, the guys that make this big game that they made called Crash Lands, and they made Level Ready, what was it called? Levelhead. And I watch them. They're really smart guys, and they're three brothers that work together. And the way that they work is like a AAA studio. I mean, they just spent the past 6 months working on a tool. They call it the Game Changer. Working on a tool that allows non-programmers, because they only have one programmer in the team, or one game programmer on the team. They're allowing non-programmers, like if my beta team or my QA team or whatever, if they wanted to add content, they go into this tool that like a mod tool, kind of like All Pro Football, the one I made, and they just go in there and they just drop in stuff to the game, and it gives people, wow. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to change their, like, because I know now the game has to read like configuration stuff, right? It has to go in and say, okay, how many checkboxes do we have in this like instruction like file? Like they're building this thing that like looks at files that non-programmers create basically using a tool. Like they spent all this time doing it, and they're projected to have like a 20x to 50x return. And I don't know if that's going to come through, but my point is that they do things like that.
That's nice.
They do things like that to improve. They're always trying to find ways to improve the speed at which they make games and get faster and faster and build out their studio. They're thinking long term. They're thinking macro level, and they also do things like they don't share anything about their game. They don't show you a screenshot. They don't talk about features. They try to hide it, and then at the last minute they go, boom, here's the game, and they throw it on they throw it on every single console, every like platform, mobile. Like it's like, and they're just 3 guys, and I'm like, and they have teams of like interns and stuff, but I'm like, how the hell do they do? And they don't even have a publisher. Like, how do they do all this? And I'm more of just like throw stuff out. So I'm learning things about the publisher that I think will be good for the future, because you want to negotiate. Like the stores are making money off of your game, and if you can find a way to get them to help you promote the game, it's a win-win. But if you just go out there blindly and throw it out there, then. But I just always have the feeling like I don't have this great history of games where I have the pull of somebody like Ubisoft or whatever, or EA, where I can walk in and say, put my game on the front cover, I'm not going to release it. I don't have that pull. So I never tried.
And you can't even play that game, right? You can't compete in the same game as the guys who have all those advantages. So, we got to scrape by and do what we can.
And I'm also curious about like sales. I haven't really had a big sale on my game. I think the most that I sold it for is like 15 or 20% off, maybe 20. I don't even know if I did 25, but I want to do like a 50% off sale one day, because I have over 17,000 wish lists, maybe 18 now.
Might be the right time. Yeah.
And I don't know, like I just released the major update, and I raised the price. When you raise the price on Steam, they don't let you do a sale for 30 days because they're trying to protect against people saying, okay, now my game's $50. Yeah, it's a scamming, like what every retail store does. They inflate their price and then give you a quote unquote sale. So I have, it may be getting close to that month, but I'm going to put it for like 50% off. I want to see.
Oh yeah.
I just want to see if it does any crazy numbers, because
see if you can drain some of those wish lists into purchases. Yeah.
And I know Steam will promote, because I've reached out to them, they will promote sales, especially big sales like that. And you might find yourself on the main cover if you do some crazy sale on an off, Steam wide sale event time frame.
Yeah, don't compete with the big Steam sales.
Right. So there's the question about demos, and I just want to talk about it. I know we mentioned it earlier, but I've been thinking about, is it worth it to do a demo for my game? And in general, indie games, are demos worth it? Because like somebody asked in here, the first comment, I think it was like, they want to test out their laptop, and it would be cool to have a demo. And then some people will say,
reason to do demos.
Yeah, but some people will say, well, just buy it and return it. And it's like, that's an option.
I hate that that's an option.
It's an option,
but it is an option now. Yeah.
But it sucks because
actually, if you think about it, the 2-week return window kind of is a demo, right?
Yeah.
So what are you really gaining by creating a demo when they already have that 2-week return window? What are you getting that doesn't already exist?
That's my point that I was going to make. It's like they have the ability to actually have a demo by returning it, but then the return
totally, I kind of said what I'm thinking too. Has anybody, like, who's really been convinced to buy a game after a demo? I gotta imagine the percentage is low.
I guess the thing is,
especially a $15 game.
Whenever you return your games, it hurts us as developers, because now like the percentage of returns goes up, and it's just a negative thing on your game. It's not good. It just doesn't look good for us, and I don't think it helps with the Steam algorithm, or I don't know, but I'm guessing it won't help. But the idea is, if you want to do it without a demo, go for it and return it. But the thing I was thinking about for my game is, there are a lot of people. I think now, I'm not sure, because Steam, I don't I don't picture Steam as the perfect place for football games. It's console, in my opinion. And it is, period. But the thing is, I think that there are people out there that look at Legend Bowl and they say, oh, it's a pixel art game. Oh, it's a baby game. I'm not going to try that game. I'm not going to want to try that game. And even for me, like I don't like returning games.
Yeah.
I don't play games enough to really care that much and put that much thought into it. But if I had a free demo, I know I would be at least one step more likely to download it than I would to buy it, then return it, and just deal with giving the publisher. I would just keep it at that point, knowing me. So for me, it's like a demo would help for somebody like me.
Yeah, I guess I could see that argument. I guess it comes down to how much work is it to make a demo, though. Because now, if you make a demo, here's the counter argument to that, right? Besides the how much work is it? If you make a demo and like that demo's got to be bug free, 100% bug free, like no ifs, ands, or buts. And
true,
you're also selling off-field features for your game. Like you have a franchise mode, you have a bunch of off-field stuff. Your demo can't include those, otherwise you basically gave them the whole game, right? So then now, what is the demo really getting you? First of all, you got to support this demo from bug squashing, which is gonna suck. But then second of all, is the demo truly representative of what your game actually is? And I would say unless you have the off-field stuff, it's not, right? So like, what is it really doing for you? Plus, we live in excuse me, we live in the day of YouTube where anybody can look up any game and find 100 people playing it and get an idea of what it is.
Yeah, those are good. Those are all good points, all valid points. Yep, I agree. I agree. So then, no demo, because you're right. I didn't think about the bug part, and I also didn't think about the support part, because the work part's not that bad, because I actually already have like a flag in there for like a beta when I did an way early on beta for a couple YouTubers. I have that out there already, and I would just need to add it to a couple spots. It's not really hard to do that, because I would limit it to like one exhibition, like exhibition only. But even then, they can play exhibition forever for free, which is not, So yeah, I just thought about it just because I'm thinking I know other games I watch out there that I keep an eye on, that some of them have demos, and I'm just like, okay, is a demo worth it? So I see you smiling over there. You see some chat.
Phenomenal view. People are lazy though. Too much work to do research on YouTube. Yeah.
I know.
People are lazy.
People are.
Yeah, that's true.
I love YouTube, man. I'm addicted to watching other games.
Oh my God. I watch way too much YouTube now for games.
I never thought, like, when games first came out, like when people used to stream games way back in the day or do videos on games, I used to think that why not just go play the game? But it's so much more work to go play the game. It's fun to watch them play because it's entertaining. You get the best parts of the game without, like, I like watching my son play games. I don't even want to play games, and I guess that's just me getting older. But it's I'm just dying.
It's funny. I used to laugh at people who watch people play games, and now I'm like, oh, I want to watch people play games.
I'm dying for a great golf game. There's 2 golf games coming out because EA is back in it now, but they pushed it to 23, I think. And then the golf club signed Tiger Woods. I'm dying for a new golf game, and I'm also dying for like a AAA football game. But until I get those, I don't see myself playing anything hardcore. I play a couple of games here and there. I go in and out, but I'm still waiting for something better to come out.
I know. I'm playing like small indie games that are like casual. I can't get into any of these huge games right now. Like I'm playing Forts and War Pips right now, right? It's like
I don't even know what that is.
Small games.
I don't even know what those are. What's that?
Yeah, Forts is this really small game I got quite a few years ago where basically you build a fort with weapons and you fight another guy who's building a fort with weapons and you try to blow each other up. It's like the old game Worms. You remember Worms? It's like that with fort building. It's pretty sweet. And then War Pips is like that game where you have an army on this side, they have an army on this side, and you send troops and try to like kill their base. Super
I
simple.
need a game. I mean, you know what's funny is I've been playing Legend Bowl, and I swear to God, I'm loving it. Like I'm loving, like there are parts of it that I want to change. Like when I play it on Superstar mode, which I've changed my difficult. That's part of the patch. We used to just be easy, medium, like easy, normal, and hard in Legend, and now it's like rookie, semi-pro, pro, because people wanted more levels and whatever. So I did that, and I'm on Superstar, which is one down from the top, which is Legend, and it sucks because like there are parts of it. This is why people want this is the problem I have. Let me just go through this real quick. This rant. I want the game. I picture a game to be like we've talked about this, where it's like this is the experience. That's it. There's no easy, hard, medium, baby mode, you know, nothing. Hardcore, nothing like that. It's just here's the game. Everything's tuned for that for that difficulty level. Like so you have this perfect balanced game. When you start adding in difficulty levels, not only is it a lot more work to figure out what each level does well and not and tune those, that you basically once you open that door, you basically are down the road of sliders because now like for me, I'm on superstar mode and there are certain parts I like about it.
Sliders.
And then like the pocket, like somebody complained about the pocket. They're like, "Oh, you got to improve the pocket." The pocket's beautiful on default mode. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful. I've spent so much time on that, but now when you bump up the difficulty, everybody on defense gets stronger. The AI gets stronger, so they come at you like hound dogs, and I don't have a way to tune pocket versus everything else. And so it's like, okay, now I start thinking, oh man, I wish I could
Yep.
tune the pocket. But then it becomes
It's a never-ending rabbit hole. You're basically making the game multiple times, the same
exactly.
game multiple times to have difficulty level.
And I hate that because I'm only one
Yeah.
person. And I wish I would have just had one difficulty and you either suck it up and man up and do it or you get out. And that's it. That's it. Like trying to
Yeah.
make it for everybody when you're only one person, it sounds good, but it sucks,
Yeah,
man.
I'm thinking of adding difficulty levels to Cyber League, but the difficulty is only going to change how much money you get. Like literally the game engine is just impossible to add difficulty levels to and have it make sense. Like even if when you play NCAA football, right? I play a lot of NCAA 14 or I used to, and now I kind of dabble or games like that. When you change the difficulty, it's hard to understand like what actually changed. And then you run into that tuning issue. But like a game like Cyber League, where a big part of the game is buying updates for your robots, maybe just change the meta game. If difficulty changes the meta, that seems the most reasonable way of doing it without shooting yourself in the foot. But you know, making the defense tougher and then having to rebalance your pocket, it's just a never-ending nightmare. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much work, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
but you know what the problem is? Once I've had the problem or I've made the choice to allow the fans in to my game. They've helped me with content. They've helped me with testing. They've helped me with feedback, and I'm tremendously like thankful that they've done that. But they've also pushed me to do things that are just sometimes too much for me to
Yep.
do, and this is one of them. So, anyways, I brought that up just because I don't know why, it just led to it from the demo. You
I don't
know,
know. We always go down rabbit holes. That's kind of the point.
yeah,
Like
we
we start
do.
off with an agenda. We it takes like 2 minutes before we're off topic.
But that's what's cool about doing
I
this is
think it just makes us feel better that we have things to talk about if we run out of thoughts, but we
yeah,
never get to them.
no, and I mean this is just it's just a way to just like socialize with our fans, socialize with people,
Yeah.
and like I always want to talk about your game. We always do like the same thing. I know you're working on, and this is the next. So this is a good segue, guys. So
Yeah.
the next topic is about smaller games. And I'm not trying to make your game out to be a smaller game because I know you bust your tail on that game.
Yeah.
But when I look at what the amount of time I've spent on Legend Bowl, to me it's a big game. I don't want to spend 5 years on a game ever
Yeah.
again. Nowhere
And
near
you're
it.
not alone. You see every other day you see indie studios go under because
Oh,
they spend 5 to 7 years on a single game and they don't make multiple millions of dollars. Like
and
you're
I'm
just setting yourself up for a high amount of risk of going under if you spend that kind of time on one game. And it's
and
tough
and
because you
that's
want
yeah.
to make an amazing game.
But that's the problem is
Yeah.
because you have this like this decision tree to go through because you have to figure out if you make like my next game, I'm gonna make another game. I don't care if it's part-time or full-time, whatever I can do, I want to make another game. And I say to myself, if I make a little game, like a demo type of game, how am I going to sell that to people when I can't even sell a 5-year game to people? And I know.
So here's what I have here. I know where you're going with this. This is my thought. And we
Go
talk
for it.
about this a lot. You're thinking about it the wrong way. It's not big game or little game. You got to think of, instead of a little game, it's a tightly focused game. It's one piece of gameplay and it's focused entirely around that, as opposed to some of like Desktop Dynasties and Legend Bowl, where it's several different gameplay features that we're trying to tie together. Right. So think of it that way. It's not small, it's just focused, right? Legend Bowl has you could probably find half a dozen gameplay elements that you're weaving together. And that's what takes so long, is making it all work. Like if Legend Bowl was just one idea and you made the game only revolve around that one idea, then it'd be a shorter game, right? It'd be a smaller game, but really it's just more focused.
But the thing here's what I think, and I hear you. It's a different way to think about the term. I know what you're saying,
Yeah.
but
if you think about it that way, it's easier to sell.
Right, but here's the thing. How do I say it? Like, to sell something to somebody when you have AAA guys all over the place. Not only are they getting all the ad placements, they're getting all of the, they're getting the cheat, like I call it where I live, like the E-Pass, like that toll lane where you could do the expressway where you could just go right down while we're all stuck in this traffic
jam. The rich
jam.
people lane.
Yeah, the rich people lane. That's where they are. Not only are they on that, but they have way more exposure, way more money, but they're also giving you way super high quality stuff, whether it be a trailer that's phenomenal or these graphics that are through the roof. I feel like for an indie studio to compete with that, you have to have like these game jam ideas that people do over a weekend, which I don't know how the hell they do that half the time. They make some pretty cool games. I know they're a group of people and they have an artist and, music guy, whatever, but I guess the way I see it is when you're working on a small little game, you're trying to build hype for your game. And the only way to do that is, I think, the only way to kind of like really control that is to have really super high quality something. Something in there has to be super high quality. You can't just put out a baby prototype and be like, oh yeah, buy my game and let's hope it takes off. That's the part I'm struggling with, because if I were to go make a game and start with this smaller game, is it a small game and that's going to be it? Or is it just a way to say, let's dangle something that's awesome in front of people, like a cool mechanic or some cool feature or a game idea, and say, do you guys want to support this for the future? And kind of like a Kickstarter mentality.
Because I look at it a little differently. I don't think you're competing with AAA. I don't believe that indies are competing with AAA unless they make the decision to compete with them. And I think that's a bad decision, right?
Well, when I say AAA, so hold on. So when I say AAA, I'm talking about AAA. I'm also talking about indie studios who are making AAA
multi-million-dollar indie studios, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
anybody
they're basically AAA.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't think you're competing with them. Like, I firmly believe there's unlimited money out there, right? There's no cap. So if somebody buys Madden, that doesn't mean they're not buying any other games. So I don't believe you have to compete. I see a lot of companies who try to compete, and Max Football is a perfect example of that, because like Dave would say all the time, like, he's trying to be like EA. It's like, well, that's idiotic, because we're never going to be as good as EA. So unless you make that conscious decision, I don't believe you have to compete. I think all you got to do is provide something that people like, and that doesn't have to be as good as everything else out there. It doesn't have to be as big as the multi-billion-dollar companies. It just has to be fun and interesting. And I think that's good enough. I like when people tell me, it's like, well, you can't make a football game because Madden exists. It's like, well, how many different brands of shoes are there? How many different brands of car are there? Like, in every industry, there's room for multiple versions of the same general idea, right? There's a million different types, how many different types of hats are there? You can go down the list. There's competition or there are options in every single industry. But when it comes to games, we automatically say, well, something big exists, so you can't do it. It's like, I think that's false. There's room for everybody.
The stream might be chugging a little bit for people. Just
Yeah.
hang in. I mean, hopefully it comes back, which is fine. I hear what you're saying.
It's not competition, it's options is
but
what it is.
But okay, fine. So if you make, let's go down this track, which I follow you, and I agree with what you're saying. But really, what are we saying? We're saying not about competing. It's about how much money do you need to make? Because if you're trying to make $100,000 in a game, you cannot make tic-tac-toe. It ain't going to sell.
Oh,
you
that's
might get
sure.
You might get $5, right?
You gotta be realistic with your scope.
Right. So you can sit there and say you're going to compete with people, but really, what are we really trying to say? How much money are you trying to make? And what kind of a game do you have to produce in what amount of time to make that kind of money? And that's a very difficult question to answer. But if you're trying to make $1 million, you better get a decent game out there. Like,
you got to put a game that's worth $1 million worth of people playing, right?
Yeah.
It's just about expectations, right? You can't come up with a knockoff flip flop and say you're going to compete with Nike, right?
But if you think about it, if you make,
got to be reasonable.
If you make 100,
there's still room in the market for both. There's still room in the market for cheesy little games. It's just not going to make $1 million.
Yeah, there's room, but like, I'm thinking more of from the financial side as a professional, right? If you're making $100,000 a year, which you could make that as a programmer all day long.
Yeah.
If you're making $100,000 a year and you take 5 years to make a game, well, you need to make $1 million game to get your 500,000, and you won't get it until 5 years from now. And you're going to get charged a self-employment tax rate, and which I just went through all that. You have to actually make like 1.5 million because you don't get benefits, you don't get vacation, you don't get stock options.
Yeah, if you want $500,000, you got to make 1.5.
Exactly. So how the hell do you make 1.5 million with a small game? Now, your argument's going to be, well, I can make 10 small games.
Don't spend 5 years on a game.
I can make 10 small games because 6 months every game.
Make 10 games.
And I'm curious to see, like, your Cyber League game that you're making. I think you have a pretty cool concept. My only like fear for you is like, now, and that's the cool thing about working on a small game. If your game doesn't make money, you've only wasted 6 months part-time. Okay. 6 months where I've wasted 5 years. Like that's a major, major risk I've taken.
Cyber League makes 20K. Cool. Move on to the next game. Right.
You're not going to be like sitting there like, oh my God, what did I do?
And nobody says that once the next game comes out that people aren't continuing to buy Cyber League, right? That's the thing about making short games is you spread the risk out. And nobody says that the game has to be a hit the day it's released. Maybe a year later, people realize, you know what, this is a pretty cool game. Maybe you should make a sequel. Then I make a sequel, I
guess I follow those guys, the Butterscotch guys, because they started out with like these little mobile games and these like little baby games. And I know they didn't make that much money with them, but they made some money. And another thing, by the way, is the whole entire tail of your game. I don't even have experience with what that looks like. Legend Ball
tails are interesting to me because you and I was showing you some stats yesterday. People are still looking up and buying Desktop Dynasties. No matter how many times I tell them it's a garbage game, and no matter how long I don't check the forums or read the reviews, and I don't support it because I don't have the source code anymore, people are looking it up more now than they were at launch. What the hell? Like the tail matters.
That. That's crazy.
So now I'm thinking, if I would have been supporting that, like I could still be making income off that game like 5 years later.
This whole entire time, you know, on the DBX, how you have that bypass button.
Yeah.
This whole time I've had the bypass button on. I know this is not even talking about what you're doing.
What does that even mean?
That means this. Watch. Listen to me talk. Now listen to me talk now. It's different. It's not going to be as different. It's not going to be as good quality. But now I do that, and it's like boom. So that doesn't matter. Who cares?
So now you're like Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah. I'm like, snakes on a plane, dog. No, but yeah. So the tail part of it is interesting to me also because, like sales, I don't know when I put my game for 75% off, is it going to just blow up? Is it going to automatically like be? And because a lot of this stuff is visibility, right? So when you put it on sale, you're going to see it more places, but you're also talking about the price point. And if you could hit both of those at the same time and have a game for like $2 and it shows everywhere, if you had that, why couldn't, I mean, look at Retro Bowl. They've made millions of dollars.
I'd
I
rather
know it. I
not.
can tell their games basically for free. So, and they have the DLC you can buy for coach credits or whatever that game has, right? And it's like,
Yeah, I don't
so
really understand the economics of mobile free games, so I can't say a lot about it. All I can say is, as a football game, I don't love it. As a business model, it seems awesome. I won't play that game though because there's so many better indie games out there for football.
that game is trash to me, but that's
Even
just,
even Desktop Dynasties one is more fun.
I know, man. But like, let's talk about desktop dynasties because
Yeah,
you and I always text back and forth. What we started this entire stream with was the football manager, right?
yeah, yeah.
That is kind of like your utopia of
That's what I'm aiming for.
what you're
Yeah.
aiming for, and I think that game could do phenomenally well.
Oh, got to be so much fun to play too.
But
Even if it doesn't do well, to play would be a dream.
but here's the thing: it could take you, and I'm telling you, it could take you
That's
four to
gonna
five.
take me a year to make the
See, you
first
say a
version of that
year. You
for
say a
sure.
year. One person doing a game with that much polish, and I guarantee you that game has a shit ton of polish. You're
Oh
not
yeah.
talking. I don't think you're talking a year. Not.
Oh, it's a year. Yeah.
I hate when you say that.
I'm not creating everything from scratch though. That's the thing,
Yeah,
right?
but you still
I
got to have
already
like.
have almost all of the AI and behind the scenes stuff written. I mean, obviously I'll update it to make it more deep, but it's almost all written. I'm going to copy the interface right from Football Manager.
I
So
don't
like
know.
I don't have to create interface ideas.
I don't know enough about what they have in that game to really speak
It's
on it.
beautiful.
But
It
I
is a
would have to.
marvel.
But a year's not a lot of time, bro. It's not a lot of time,
Yeah, I
man.
know,
I know.
but
I know
I'm
you're going
pretty
to reuse
fast.
stuff, but I'm talking about a fully polished, flushed out game that looks like that game probably looks. I
Oh yeah,
think
yeah. At that level, so you're missing like there's the second piece of the desktop dynasty strategy, right? There's the first piece, which is get the game out that does all of this and plays like Football Manager. The second piece of my desktop dynasty strategy is that I'm just going to be continually updating it over and over and over and over and over. So yeah, like the very first, the year one version is probably not going to be as polished as Football Manager. That would just be silly to think I could do that in a year. But it will incrementally get closer and closer and closer as I keep updating that. This desktop dynasties won't be like Cyber League. Cyber League will be one game with a defined scope, and when it's done, it's basically done. And then I move on to the next game. Desktop dynasties will be a continual process.
so. Then you're okay. So see, I'm talking about what they have today. How long
Yeah,
would
you're
that
talking
take?
about, can I make a game that's been developed over 15 to 20 years in 1 year? No, you can't do that.
Not no way.
But you can get close. You can get 80% and then continue to refine the final 20%.
See, I don't even think you can get 80% because you're talking 15 years of multiple people playing it.
Yeah.
I know that you're quick, and I know that you're fast, and I know you reuse stuff.
Yeah.
I want to see. I guess I think polish is what's going to sell. Like for you to be able to work on a game full time, you got to have different. You can have different strategies, right? You can make like
Yeah.
the guy Orange Pixel. You can have 10 shit games that make you 5,000 a piece. That's 50 grand. If you're making 50 grand, maybe that's enough to work on it full time. That's a strategy, right?
Yep.
You can make 10 mobile games and they're all free to play. And they get, I mean, who knows what you can make with that. So you can do the very, very like small games and many of them, right? Quantity
Yeah.
versus quality. Or you can go anywhere in between all the way up to quality. So one game, put all your eggs in that basket, which I know you're not going to want to do. But if
Nope.
you were to
Too
make a
risky.
football manager game, I guess here's the thing. I still am of the opinion, and it's a risky opinion, and you know where I'm going.
Yeah.
I want to see you. I would like to see you, and I'm just telling you, even though it doesn't matter. I would love to see you make a fully polished game, because then
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have your best. I know you're gonna have your best
Well, I
shot.
mean, it's obvious you do really like the work on a single game for 5 years strategy.
I
Because
hate
if you
that.
didn't
No, no,
like it,
I
you
hate
wouldn't
it.
have done it,
No, no,
right?
I did it because my no, no. What I care about is making a game that I would really want to play. And I'm not
Yeah.
talking about a prototype. I'm talking about a real, fully flushed out game with full polish, things that annoy the crap out of me, which is going to take you down a road of
That's
losing
a
a lot
5 year
of
game.
money
Yeah.
and a lot of time if people don't like it. But I guess I just think about all the years you've been working on games.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about this. All the years you've been working on games. And I don't know how long it's been, but I know you've been doing it for a while,
Been
at
quite
least
a
part
while.
time,
It's almost
right?
20 years now.
Well, I'm talking about like the last, since you
Oh,
started to
the
do,
hardcore last 5 years. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, when you've
Yeah.
really tried to turn the page and
Yeah.
branch off. 5 years. If you can go back right now and say put those 5 years into a fully flushed out game, would you choose to do that? Knowing what you know now,
Yeah. I wouldn't.
you still wouldn't.
No, no, too risky. It's just too risky. What I would have done if I were to do this over is so think of your time, right? 100% of your time. If I were to go back 5 years, I would have one game that was 25% of my time that I would work on for 5 years. I would take the other 75% of my time and release multiple more focused games.
Yeah,
And I would
I
do
saw your
try to get a
video.
little bit of the best of both
I
is what
saw
I would
your
do.
That's what you're trying to do now. You're
That's what my
trying,
strategy is right now,
right.
right? Have one game that I work on for a decade, but fill it in with multiple focused games. That also, those focused games do one thing in the background that benefits the 25% game. So you're kind of reinforcing yourself through cycles, is what my strategy is. So, like Cyber League is a good example. There are things that I've developed in Cyber League that are going to benefit desktop dynasties. The Backyard Football Project is coming next after Cyber League. There are things planned for that that are going to go directly into desktop dynasties, right? There are the game that comes after Backyard. If there's another game, and I don't just make a second version of either of those two, it's something is going to be in that game that directly improves desktop dynasties. So it's kind of like you try to make the most out of your effort while reducing the overall risk.
And that's where I'm not sure, like, how does that look financially for each game that you're selling? Are you
Yeah.
making enough to make it? Because at the end of the day, we're talking about what's going to make you the most money,
Yeah.
because we're doing this to support our families and to make a living. And it's the hardest work that you can ever do. Going to a job is a joke. You deal with politics, you deal with crap, you deal with a manager you hate, people you don't want to work with. But the actual amount of work that you do, baby,
Yeah. It's not much.
no matter what
Yeah.
level you're at, it's a joke. You're just dealing with crap. You're not really working
Like
hard.
90% of having a job is just trying not to get yelled at.
Yeah. Or trying not to kill somebody.
Yeah.
So, and going to work and dealing with being, in the
Yeah.
matrix is the way I look at it. But the idea is for this conversation, how much money, can
Yeah.
you get? What kind of return can you get on those small games? And I
Yeah.
just
So
feel
the
like,
thought is, right, each small game at launch will probably make under 50K, right? Like 20K, 25K. I don't know, something small. And then the next game will come and it'll make something small too. But the thing that I'm hoping on, and the thing that I think is realistic, is after one or two or three of those games, each individual game doesn't need to make a ton, because I still have a back catalog of games that I can either re-promote, I can update, I can do a sequel on. Um, but the more times you release something small, you build the breadth of your back catalog, and each of those games is going to have a tail. And the addition of all those tails and any incremental bumps you get by improving the game or releasing a patch or releasing a content update or doing a sequel just adds, it just compounds, right? So that's what I'm hoping the strategy works out to be. To me, it seems reasonable. It seems low risk. It seems fun to be the most, the biggest thing is it seems like something fun that I could do and never get bored with. Um,
So
and
I'm
then of
looking at
course you're
game.
just reusing skills
I'm looking
and
at games
keep
on Steam, right?
yeah,
This is a small game, 99 cents,
yeah,
right? 99 cents. Probably not really hard to do. You could probably make this in maybe a month or 2 or 3. I'd say let's
yeah,
just call it a month, 2. I don't even
yeah.
know. Minimum. I think a month is
Who
still
knows?
small.
We'll just say like 2 months. Let's just say it could be done in 2 months.
Yeah, 2 to 3 months, whatever.
Yeah.
15 reviews.
Yep.
99 cents. What's that? $15. Now that's 15 reviews.
Nice.
Let's let's say let's say they got 100 times, whatever. Let's just say they sold 500 units, which is a lot.
Yeah.
They're making
Yeah.
$500. That's one game, right?
Yep.
One game. So if we go back, how do I get back out of here? If I just I'm just searching football games, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not, it's not like a right or wrong thing. It's more of like, I find it very daunting after making the game that I made to sell any copies, let alone make a small game. It's hard for me to even wrap my head around it. Like tiny football. Okay, this game's coming out this summer. Tiny football. Well, let's take a look. It looks kind of cool, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I can get behind a game like this.
I'm
How do
already kind of
you,
interested.
let's see, tiny football play. There we go. I actually like this
It's actually
style
really
of
kind of fun, it looks like.
pixel art, you know?
Yeah, I don't mind pixel art. I mean, there are a lot of people that don't like pixel art, but I kind of like it.
I like this like little
Yeah.
itty bitty pixel art, but you wonder like, okay, what are they going to charge for this game? $1, $2, $3, $4. I mean, it depends on how deep they go.
Yeah, see, to me, I don't even care about that. I don't care. Like, I don't look at price of games as the thing that defines the value of the game. I look at what is the idea they're presenting and does it look worthwhile? And then after I've understood that, then I look at the price and say, okay, is the idea they're giving me worth whatever the price is? Um, like for me, it's all about like, what are you selling? What is the experience you're selling? And if the experience you're selling is interesting, I think you're going to find a market for it.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's
That
hard.
first game, that Pog soccer game, the first one that you showed, I didn't see an interesting idea they were selling there, which to me is probably reflected in that there's just not selling a lot of things. There's to me, it's just not a compelling reason to play that game. It doesn't look like it would be fun or hold my attention for very long. Now
I
that
look
soccer game, the pixel one, looks like they are giving something that could be fun.
So Out of the Park Baseball just came out with their latest version, and they're a bigger studio. They were bought out by another company.
Yeah, they're pretty
They
good. They're
This
pretty
game's
legit
like
now.
$40 now. They've been talk about a game that they've been working on
God, I wish I could
forever.
charge $40.
But I've heard that you could charge. I mean, people are going to buy these games like
If it's
this.
good enough, if the experience is fun enough and there, and people enjoy it, they'll pay it.
They have the actual license in this game, which is crazy. I know that they've worked with the MLB, like the sports networks
Yeah,
to put
that's
like
when
their
you can
engine
charge
out
money.
there. But even them, if you look at their games, like they don't make let me do it this way. They don't make a killing. I mean, they have to be making a killing because I mean, how could you not? But if I type in OOTP and I look for that game, how many reviews did they have last year? And I look and I kind of use reviews as a bar. I know it's not
Yeah,
perfect. I know you can go to like the different sites to find out for sure, but they sold 1,478 units, at least reviews. I'm sorry, reviews.
yeah.
85%, I think it says there. I have a dark mode on. I
I
could
think you
barely
could
read.
like something like 50 there's a multiplier you can use. It's like 50 or 80 to get a rough estimate on what the sales are. It's just like 100 is a good,
50
just less
sounds
than
like
a,
yeah, 50 sounds pretty good, maybe.
yeah, it's something like 50 or 80, I think is what the general average is.
So sales, you're talking.
Yeah, yeah. So you multiply reviews, all time reviews times 50 and get a rough estimate of sales.
I think it's more like, I mean, for me, it's more like 20, I think.
Yeah, I
if I'm
think that, like, the average though is for once a game hits a certain amount, it's not just like your buddies and your fans that are buying it, it's the general public that's buying it. And then like the
Mhm.
percentage of the general public that leaves reviews is something like between 2 and 1%.
Yeah, it's hard, and that's what I guess I'm trying to get to here is how hard how hard is it to sell games for a living?
Yep.
And it's not easy. There's different types of
Uh,
ways. People have probably been putting comment. I know
there's no
Clef
formula
phenomenal.
or we'd all know what the formula is.
I know because I want to make another game because I think I need to make another game. It's been forever. I've been working on Legend Bowl, and I guess I've gone down the route of try to make the best game I can make with the skills I have. And it's taken a long, long time in between a
Yeah.
bunch of like that's what like I always tell you, like I'm also a dad, I'm a husband, and I have to run a household. Like, there's a lot that I'm doing that's not even related. Walking my dog. Like there are things that we do all day that are just that get in the way of making a game. And
Yeah.
I don't have like I'm not a 16-year-old kid in my mom's basement plugging away for 18 hours a day. I don't have that kind of time frame. So when I say 4 to 5 years, like it might be 2 years for somebody
Yep.
who's busting ass all day and has no responsibilities. I don't know how that equates, but I need to find a way to like just see what I'm gonna do while my game's being ported, and find out if
Yeah.
that's gonna be, so there's the small game concept. And I do like I do think see I think of it more like a Kickstarter where it's like if I can find a way to make a cool idea, which might take me 20 years because game jams happen all the time and you have thousands of people that are putting in, games and only a handful get picked as the top games. And maybe out of all of those game jams, only one game makes it. Like, so it's like you're also trying to get a lotto ticket, right? So I think like
Yeah.
the
Yeah, if the
orange
goal is
pixel,
to make millions of dollars, yeah, you're waiting for a lottery ticket.
right? Either way. And I think that like I think a way and like you shared you share
Did you see were you
yeah.
laughing at Kleptolius? Yeah.
I see you laughing, so I was looking at it, but oh, you shared the one guy who's been making games for like 30 years,
Yeah.
and he's all about quantity, pushing
Yep.
out, one game after another and after another, and then some hit big, some don't, but they all make some money, and then when you add them up over time, his average, return is enough to support, him and his wife or family or
Yep.
whoever. And that's where I don't I know we get into this debate here, and I don't think I think that I like your idea better. I just don't know how the hell I'm gonna do how I do it.
Yeah, the tough part of that is getting the multiple games, right? That's the upfront part is tough. And like I'm in it right now, right? I'm working on Cyber League. When that launches, I've still only got basically Cyber League. Right? I have to do another one and then I got to do another one. And by the time the third one's done, now I have what you could call a back catalog. But getting to the point where you have a back catalog, that's tough. That's the
Right.
daunting part right
But
now.
look at your desktop dynasties game.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't a financial like success, but like if you had 10 of those right now, is that gonna be
Yeah.
enough for you to survive? No, right? Like, no.
10 of those? God,
Yeah.
no. Yeah.
Right. But
If
that's
I
but
if
that's
I
my
have 5 of those, I better quit.
but that's
Like,
my
if my first 5 are all like that, I should quit.
but
Like,
that's my
just
fear because you put a
yeah.
lot of work into that game. It's a hard game to make, and I know I'm picking on a game that didn't do well for you,
Well,
but that's gonna be for
that's
most
okay. It's
people.
fair to pick on it because
Uh,
it didn't do well and I abandoned it, right? But now looking at the numbers, the traffic it's getting now still after X amount of years being released, like, man, there's something there. Like, there's something there. The back catalog idea that people are still interested in old games, there's some promise there.
I guess I
And
think
even though the game itself sucked, it the traffic and the interest it's still getting gives me hope.
I guess I think about the like the YouTube or website um like paradigm. You cannot. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much you bring. I mean, maybe if you're a celebrity, you might just jump overnight. But Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever the hell people use nowadays, YouTube, Twitch, all most of those people took years and years. Now, timing was a big thing, but they took years and years of grooming those
Yeah.
channels to eventually hit it big. Some do it in a year, but it's never like a boom bang, bing bang boom
Yeah.
done. And
It almost always takes time. Yeah.
that's kind of how I feel about this small game thing. You're competing with so many other people now, not just companies. You're competing with a little kid down the street that's making a game because
Yep.
Steam has opened their doors wide open to anybody. There's no more green light. There's no more. You got $100, you got a game.
Yeah.
Look at mobile, 1,000 times worse, a million times
Yeah.
worse.
Oh yeah.
But then I just think about the idea of, thanks for the donation, Klep. I appreciate it. The idea of this, you have to like build it. You have to build it.
Yeah.
I mean, I built the SimHead site. I quickly abandoned it because I can't do that. Plus a game, plus a YouTube. I can't even YouTube. YouTube. This channel for me is actually just a hobby. I mean, I have my
Yeah. It
game on
takes time
here,
though.
you know, it's like building a house. If you put 2 bricks down and walk away, who's going to live? Who's going to buy the house? And
Yeah.
and I'm not arguing that you can't do it. I just find it to be like, I can't wrap my head around how the hell I'm going to do it because I have a very like strong feeling that I'll just have 5 games that don't make any money, like 5 SimHead
Yeah.
sites.
I mean, it's possible. You got to go into it. It's real. It's a real possibility. I guess it comes down to like, what else are you going to do? Right? Do you want to go back to work? Because it sucks. I went back to work and I'm
No.
at work right now and I hate it. I would so much rather be broke making games. And then it's like, all right, well, if you decide you want to make games, like, what are you going to do then? You have to find a way to do it. And I think about that a lot too. Like, there's a realistic chance that my strategy will fail. But you know what? Can't be afraid. You got to be brave. You got to do it.
But
Just
I think that
suck it up and do it.
I think the speed that you make your games is, at least with the what you're showing, is fast. I think that you have, like with Cyber League, I think you have a good chance to at least get people interested, and see what happens. I don't know how deep the game's going to be from day one. Um, Man, I just wish like we could just make these like awesome games and know that we like super giant games. Even the guys, the butterscotch shenanigans, I know for 100% fact their next games are going to make a shit ton of money. I know it.
Yeah.
I mean, not as much as Supergiant. Like the other guys are smaller fish, but I know the way that they put in their 2-3 years of work. Now you also have to have that runway, right? Some people just don't have the runway and deal with the small game idea part time because that's all they can do, which is fine. But I know for a fact that those guys have built, especially the butterscotch guys, because Supergiant is AAA basically, in my opinion. But the butterscotch guys, from the beginning, they've done like a 350 show podcast. They have done these like multiple things, which is maybe part of your thing, where they're constantly improving and getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And I know their
They're
next
doing the
game,
grind. Yep. They're building it piece by piece.
right? They have like a mail, what do you call it? Like a mail list or whatever
Yeah.
with people. Like they're building their company, they're building their customer base so that every new game that comes out, it's got a higher chance of making money,
Yep.
and they lower their risk. But they're spending like 2-3 years on a game. 3 guys
Yeah.
plus other teams. And it's just like, okay, I don't have any question that they're going to keep making money unless something weird happens with the market and the industry. But it takes them time, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, you got to build it. And the only way to build it is to build it. Right. You can't jump right to the top. You got to work your way up. And that's where we get into the discussion. All right. What's your strategy to work your way to the top? One strategy that you see a lot of, especially a lot of the game devs that we hate, right? The Fox devs guys, their
They're the
strategy is to
worst.
make one game that is just purely like surface level appeal to everything that the masses love. right? And hope to get viral on Reddit. Like, yeah, that's a strategy. 99.999% of game devs are going to fail with that strategy. You know, the other strategy is to build one game and put all your sweat and hopes into the one game and hope you hit the lottery. That's another strategy. Some games devs, some companies hit the lottery there. Millions of them don't though, right? The other strategy is like what I'm doing is just try to grind your way from the bottom to the top. Just grind your way through it. Make games, make the next one, make the next one. And each one, hope you get a little better as a game dev. I hope your games get a little more audience and just work your way up. I would say the percentage of companies that succeed doing that are a lot more the percentage of companies that hope for the lottery ticket. So that's
Yeah.
what the only reason I'm taking that path. It's not because I'm special or anything. It's just because I think hard work in the end is going to win out.
Yeah. And there are people that take it's so hard because there are people that do take that approach of I'm going to try to make it based on some kind of viral marketing strategy
Yeah.
that, and they spend their entire time coming up with some kind of hook. That they always talk about hooks, coming up
Right.
with
The
a
fox
hook,
dev.
the
I made
fox
a
dev.
game about foxes because I know that people love foxes.
And he had a
So
easy way to buy assets and quickly. Like I bought an asset for Unity for I was trying to do one of those um lonely mountain games, like like the
yeah.
bicycle, like the road, or the, what do you call them, trail bike type of
Yeah.
bicycle game where you can roll down and maybe do it with like a one wheel or something, or some kind of skateboard thing.
That would have been
and
fun, actually.
and I can easily right now, I haven't even touched Unity since I bought the asset. I can load up Unity right now and take some pretty badass screenshots and make some GIFs with that asset right there the way it is. And I can start to try to sell that, and I may get some crazy attention from it versus my top down 2D football game.
Yeah.
And I didn't do any work yet. Literally nothing. I bought it, I plugged it in, and I said load. And I'm saying that's an approach people can take, which is find something to get people excited and not worry so much about your game being great or good or
Yeah, that's an
anything,
approach. Yeah.
you know. And once you get the attention, then you do what you want, because now you have people wanting it. And then maybe you spend them. And that's like the whole Kickstarter approach where it's like get people hyped up
That's
about a
all. It's
game.
like all those hype football developers too, right? They show screenshots, and I rant about this all the time. People go crazy for screenshots. It's like they're taking that approach that you just described, right? Get people excited about something that doesn't exist, and then maybe someday it will exist. Like, yeah, that's a strategy. It's not my strategy, but
Right.
people have gotten successful that way too.
And even like that Orange Pixel guy, he makes his little money he makes off of every game, because I feel
Yeah,
like he depends and relies on his little audience. He's growing
yeah,
his YouTube channel, which I know you've talked about that too, growing the YouTube channel, growing his customer base, because he's relying on those people to fund his dev, studio. And he doesn't have the best games. They're not the biggest games, these blockbuster games. He tries to knock them out
yeah,
in 6 months, but he's building a brand,
yep.
in a
Yeah,
sense.
and he's still making money on games he released 10 years ago,
Right. And he still hasn't
right?
had to go
That's
back
pretty cool.
to corporate. And I think that that's the approach. I agree that that is the approach that will win 99% of the time,
Yeah.
because you versus the other approaches, because the other approaches you're looking for a lottery. Like my approach,
That's all you're
I'm
doing. You might as
I'm
well just
look
go buy lottery tickets.
I'm looking for what I did with Legend Bowl is it's tough, man. Like I when I look at what I've made and I average it out for the years and I take out all the taxes and I've made nothing. I've made like McDonald's money. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
to be fair, like I know now looking back, that 5 years seems like it was a tough road to take. But I do remember when you were or in the we were both working on our football games like in the Desktop Dynasties days when you were just getting started. And I do remember us talking about strategy, and your strategy at that point was not to work on that game for 5 years.
no way.
It was to get the game done, and the game was relatively done at about a year to 2 years. The last 3 years, like you had said, it's just been you loving your game, adding more features, adding more polish. Like you've basically spent 3 years of love on your game when like that wasn't your strategy coming out. You weren't expecting to hit the lottery on a game that took 5 years. You just made a game that you really loved and kept working on it.
Right. And but I also have, and to be fair, it's been like 4.5 years with 6 months to eight. It's been about 4 years, I would say, at right now, 4 years of pretty consistent work, which is 2 years way longer than I thought it would be. And when I guess I have put so much work into this game that for me to walk away after 2 years and where it was at,
Yeah.
it's not enough. Like I need, like
I know.
I'm going the track of, I need people to want to play this game. I need to want to play this game, or
Yep.
else it won't do as well as I need it to
That's what the
do.
last 3 years have been. Like we've had
Yeah,
that discussion. There was, like I said, after about 2 years, you were kind of done. But then
I've been done for a
personally,
long
I could
time.
see it, and we talked about it all the time. Like, but you in your heart weren't done, right? You had more to give, and like Legend Bowl just kept going and kept
I'm
going and
still
kept
right
going.
now. I'm still
You're
not
still
done. I
struggling
told
with
you
it. We
today.
talk
I'm
about it
like, I
every
need to
day.
stop. I need to stop. I
Yeah.
cannot continue this because I'm just going to sit here and die. And luckily for me, like I'm not rich by any means at all. I live in a small place. My wife makes okay money. It's nothing like we're not sitting here like, oh, I can do this for 50 years. No way. Like I am sacrificing big time,
Yeah.
big time. And at least this year I made some money, but it's still like when you look
Yeah,
at the grand
you
scheme,
still emotionally have to make that corner of like Legend Bowl is good. It's a good game. It's okay for me to work on something else now.
right?
That doesn't mean you can't come back to Legend Bowl.
It may
Like
have a
it's a
bug in it,
hard emotional
right?
turn to make.
And that's why I'm talking so much. I know this wasn't even on our
Like I
list.
know you got to talk it out. It's like therapy, right?
Yeah, like you're my therapist right now, and I'm trying to challenge you and challenge myself to figure out what the hell I'm going to do because I am at that point where I've worked way too long on a game. But you know what? Like I look at Super Mega Baseball, and I know my game's not their game, and I know I don't have. They had a studio. They had a studio with 20 plus people, right? They didn't have that in the beginning. They were just two guys, but I like I like following what they did. Although I know what they did is one in a million. I do like what
They
they
also
did.
made multiple versions of the game,
They did.
right?
They
They
they did.
knew when to stop on a game and to start working on
Yeah,
the
but to
next
be
one.
fair,
And
they
that's an
were.
important decision.
Yeah, but hold on a second. And they had to learn that the hard way too. But
Yeah. Yeah.
they took, I know it because I've studied them very closely. They
Yeah.
took 7 years to make Super Mega Baseball 1.
Yeah.
7 years. And they say that was way too long. They took 7 years, bro.
That's yeah, they'll
So
admit it too, right? They
but
should
but
have
but
churned. Yeah.
but Super Mega Baseball 1 was a pretty damn good game. It was much
Yeah.
better than it was at year 2 and year 3 and year 4, but they put their eggs way hard in one basket and it paid
Yeah.
off. It paid off for them.
Yeah, but now you're talking about the lottery ticket again,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
You can't base your strategy off the lottery ticket.
Yeah. So I need to come up with a game that I can make that's small, not only because I don't have, not only because I feel like it's the better strategy for somebody like us. I also feel like I've done the other strategy and it's I have to see what happens and I don't have the energy or the runway to do that same strategy
Yeah,
again.
you couldn't do. We're not young anymore either. Like,
Right.
there's a reason I can't spend 5 years on a game is because, like, I don't have a lot of years left.
Right. Right.
I
No,
gotta
you're
get going, man. Or
yeah.
else I'm gonna pretty soon I'm gonna like the dementia's gonna set in, and like, what am I gonna do then?
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like I mean, sometimes you forget how old you are because you just forget because time goes by
Every
so
time I get
fast.
out of a chair, I remember how old I am.
I know, but we're also not 75 sitting here making games. I
Not
mean,
yet. I
we
don't want to be
hopefully have some
75
time.
still talking about this though.
Yeah,
I want to be 75 looking back on all the amazing stuff we made.
we hopefully have some time left.
Yeah.
Um, but I need to come up with some kind of game that people are going to at least support to make some money. I don't know what that money is, and I would love to not
If
have
it's
to
a
worry
fun
about
game, they'll
console.
support it. Like, don't overthink it. If it's fun and you like it, somebody will support it.
So another guy, he was making a bigger game. So his second game was Heat Signature, which took like 3 years at least. And then now he's working on another game called Tactical Wizards that he's been working on.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I swear he's been working on that game for another 3 years. But you see, he hit it big with the first. But and here's where, if you think about it, if you hit it big with your first game, let's say Desktop Dynasties hit it big.
Hmm.
I feel like the people who take the 2-3 years to make a game are the ones that hit it big, who have the runway to do so. Not because it's like, why wouldn't he go out and make a small little game? I think it's because he has the money and the runway to do it, right? If all of a sudden I padded your pockets with $5 million, you probably go off into the sunset and never look back. But let's just say you needed to make games still. Would you still do this? I guess what I'm asking is the financial, like, part of it, the fact that, let's say you don't have 5 million in the bank, is that why you think that the small game strategy is better, or do you think it's better, period?
I think I probably would still do something like that just because one thing I learned, because I rolled off of Desktop Dynasties 1 and I immediately just kind of rolled into Desktop Dynasties 2 or Head Coach or Madden Killer Project, whatever you want to call it, but basically the same game. There was a point where I started to burn out on it a little bit, and my creativity, I could tell my creativity suffered. So I do like the idea of doing these shorter games that are different in some way, just for no other reason than to refresh your creativity. So I probably would still do it. I probably would only do one small game a year instead of two. Um, but I would still do it. Yeah.
I think that's part of my problem too, is like, not only do you have to make a game that is whatever scope, small scope, right? But you also
Yeah.
have to be, you also have to, whether it's a, also have to be interested enough to keep working on it.
Yeah. Cause you get like people might love it and play your game, but nobody plays your game as much as you do.
Nobody.
So it better be fun.
And that's kind of why it's cool, because I'm actually enjoying playing Legend Bowl. This
Yeah.
is a game that I started making, by the way, that was on the side. And I made, like, I'm like 90% done with this game. It's a small little game. And I was thinking about it today, about like possibly releasing it
Oh,
as,
you should. People will love that game.
well, I don't even know if they love, I almost would release it for free, maybe. I don't even know what I released, how much I
No
would
way,
release it
man.
for.
Your time's worth something.
But I don't even know what it would be worth. But the bottom line is, I still have to wrap this game up. I'd have to do a trailer, do the store page, there's going to be time that I'm going to have to invest in it.
Yeah, that's why
But
you should charge something for it.
yeah, yeah. But I wonder what I would even make
Man,
with
you're a
this game.
business. You make a product. You should get paid for that product.
Okay. Well, then what do you get paid
Well,
for a little
whatever
game?
people will pay. Right? It's like everything,
I have no idea what
right?
they'll pay. I don't know
Desktop
what they'll
Dynasty
pay.
sells for 99 cents because that's what people will pay right now, right? That 99 cents is still better than zero.
True. True. Yeah.
Everyone, like every 3 months, I get enough money to go to dinner. That's something, right? My
Oh my
Desktop
God.
Dynasty's dinner once a quarter.
This is my artist. This is my artist, his page here. And he does a lot of cool stuff, man. Like, he's done all this stuff here. He gets a
Yeah.
little, he loves doing art and graphics and stuff like this. Some of the stuff's pretty cool, but I get ideas from him, from his stuff. There's Legend Bowl. He did that.
Yeah,
Um
I hate to interrupt you here, but I got the message from my wife that I need to wrap it up now.
yeah, I saw you looking up earlier. I'm like, we're going way too
Yeah,
long.
I
It's
don't want to
fine.
get in trouble because
No, I know. I
nobody
know.
likes that.
You're already in trouble. You work on games.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? My
All right, well,
God.
we can call it a wrap. I mean, we went through a lot. This is more of a
Yeah.
of
This is
a, uh
our therapy
therapy.
session. I
Exactly.
started off with my needing therapy over paying $9 for Madden 22. And then we ended on this therapy, business therapy.
So I need to worry about what I'm gonna do. You have your plan. I love how you do your videos, and you have your plan for your design and your game company and where you're going. And I'm always asking people. I'm the kind of person that I can think about those things, but I just like to I don't know. I'm very indecisive and I'm analytical about things, and I have to ask a bunch of people to get me to like say, okay, this is what I should do.
Yeah.
And I like how you just do it. And I think if I just did that sometimes, it would be better than just asking everybody, you know?
Yeah.
But anyways, we can wrap it up. I know you got to go.
Cool.
We've been on for too long. Thanks for doing this. I think these are always fun and we
Yeah,
can
it
do
is
it again
fun. I
sometime.
like doing it.
All right, cool. Well, thanks everybody. Take care. Thanks, Sean. Keep going. Keep grinding. Don't
All
stop.
right.
All
We'll
right.
see you later.
Peace.